with that being said, and with that said, Jeff, let's get into our first main topic, shall we?
Yeah, what? Let's get on.
Yeah, let's do it, dude. So,
Yep.
a little while back, there was some backlash that came out, Jeff, in relation to one of the major game publishers, console developers, and there was a lot of backlash that happened because even though everyone thought that GTA and Rockstar were going to be the first ones to kind of create a new bar for video games, that being like the rumored $100 for GTA 6. Well, Nintendo beat them to it.
Yeah,
and
it's the thing that Nintendo's always done. They always try to get a jump on, like, not really game prices in general, because the Switch is, even in general, Nintendo has always just been bang for your buck. You get what you pay for.
Yeah,
That's always been Nintendo.
100%. Well,
Hell,
the
they make those
Nintendo.
DSs
Well, you and I,
durable.
we talked. I think we talked off camera about the Nintendo Switch 2, and we were talking about the backlash that was happening for the prices specifically for the games.
Yeah, I still think the games are a bit overpriced in general, but the console, I believe it's fully worth the amount of money you pay for it. That $480 or $450, I think is 100% worth it. It's a powerhouse.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, man, what's crazy about that is I thought it was going to affect the sales, and it
No.
absolutely did not at all. Guys, this is what's crazy about this is that the Nintendo Switch 2 has become the fastest selling Nintendo console with over 3.5 million.
I think it's the fastest selling console ever.
Ever. Yeah, of all time. Yeah, you're 100%. You're right.
With like
Over 3.5 million
let's
copies
say, yeah,
sold.
it's like 300. It's like 3 million within 4 days.
4 days.
That's nuts.
So, what do you think it was that made the console sell as well as it did? Do you think it was like just the fact of?
Well, I got a feeling like once people started to realize that it's not a like cash grab of a console where it's just basically a piece of crap. It actually is a relatively decent console. Some people have been putting it on par with the Steam Deck, which is actually impressive. The Steam Deck's also a meaty console too. And after like people like realize like, oh, this isn't crap, it's actually good stuff. And not to mention the two games I was surprised to see it run, and not just run, but run well, was Cyberpunk and Hogwarts Legacy. Two games that are utterly massive, like seriously, massive games. And it runs on the Switch really, really well.
Yeah. Well, I think the upgraded features obviously was a contributing factor.
Yes.
I think the other thing, though, dude, that a lot of people, maybe they're not talking about as much, is that the Switch is, when you want to talk about the family-friendly console
Yes.
of our time, Nintendo takes the cake on that by
Always.
a wide margin. I
Always.
mean,
because their demographic has always been targeted towards not just kids, but families.
yep, 100%.
That's
Yeah.
always been like their target audience is not just kids, but families.
And Nintendo, it seems like people, whether it's families or individuals, know that if we're getting a Nintendo console or Nintendo game, typically everybody can play it. Now, obviously, they're adding some games to the fray that will change that. I mean, Cyberpunk 2077, amongst, they're adding more and more mature themed games.
Yes,
but
they started doing that with the Switch.
Yeah.
Additionally, they added games like Skyrim or Doom. Like, I'm pretty sure you can get Doom Eternal on the Switch, which, again, is weird, but okay, do what you want. But it seems like instead of going for families, they're just going for everybody and adding certain games that certain older demographics will like.
yeah.
Because I think that's what they started doing with the Switch initially, is they started adding in a lot more mature games and just instead of keeping it PG-13.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
I mean, hell, the next Pokemon game is PG-13, or like
Teen?
That's like E10 and up, I think.
Oh, okay.
Which is like the first Pokemon game in history to do that.
Oh,
So,
really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, all Pokemon games up to this point have been E. Even the GameCube ones, which involve terrorism. I'm not even joking. You play as a terrorist.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Which I'm excited to play those on the Switch too as well, because they're coming to the Switch.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to play them.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the only two games I have not played.
What do you think? The last episode of the show, we were talking about how maybe at some point with what Xbox is doing with bringing Gears of War Reloaded to PlayStation as well as Xbox, we talked about, you know, the thought of Xbox and PlayStation creating a super console together with Steam built in. With the success of the Nintendo Switch 2, I'm wondering if that's something that, you know, it's so complex though, guys, because if Xbox and PlayStation were like, okay, we are getting completely manhandled right now by the Switch. If we wanted to join forces, how difficult would that be? Because you have Microsoft, a publicly traded company, you have Sony, a publicly traded company. The logistics of that would be absolutely nightmarish.
Honestly, the best way to do it is actually how they did it, in just having a third party make the console and then just have basically support them. Because that's what like Xbox is doing with the new what's it called? I forget already.
What, the Rogue?
The Rogue, yeah, that's what they're doing with the Rogue. Like, the Rogue has been made by a third party company, but it's able to connect straight to Xbox and Steam. It's basically just a mini computer that you carry around, but it's designed for gaming.
Right.
Which is cool. And it looks cool. And it actually looks like it's going to be able to handle a lot of stuff.
No, I agree. I think that PlayStation and Xbox will inevitably, in my mind, will start having more discussions.
Yes.
Probably not right now about merging like a console, but I'm saying
this is the first step.
The first step is, here's a game that was a console exclusive. Here, you guys can have it now too. Yeah. And then maybe PlayStation does the same at some point, and then it becomes like a somewhat of like a partnership, match made in heaven or something. You know, we don't know where it's going.
I think this is the first step into hopefully making that super console that everyone dreams about.
That'd be so cool, dude.
Just to think about it, like people in like gamers who are playing like on the 360 would never imagine there being a chance in hell that they would be able to play a PlayStation game on their Xbox.
Right.
It's just such an out of like thought experience, and such a weird thing that people would never expect to happen.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm excited for the future, and this new handheld is the bright future forward for it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, the question is for all of you guys, what do you guys think about the Nintendo Switch 2, the sales, I mean, being the fastest selling, you know, console of all time? What are your guys' thoughts about it? Jump down to the comment section down below and let us know your thoughts.